You're now going to take a look at how to record a macro using the live macro recording function. And of course, to initiate that, you have to press the MREC button on the upper left hand corner. See, it lights up, the prog button lights up, and you can type the enter set name there. It takes a while to for the input to be accepted. You can't just type really fast like you would normally type on or input it on the software directly. So if you make a mistake, you can probably erase that. Okay. Choose macro button. Choose any of the macro buttons, the 41 macro buttons are there. So just pick randomly. I'm going to pick M9 here. And now you input the macro key. Now this actually records the timing as well. I didn't realize it first. So if I wanted to do, now that presents a problem. As you can see, the as you saw earlier, where the keys, it accepts the keys. It doesn't accept it at a really fast pace. So if I want to do Windows R and then type Notepad and then press enter, because I want to, like I did in the software example, in the software macro recording where I wanted to launch Notepad. I did real quick like this, and look, just look at the info. The keys that it recorded is Win and A, and it records the gap in between, the wait time. So, and to finish that, you just press M9 and it will record that macro. But of course, it's not what I wanted to set. Let me try to do that again. And this time I'm going to show. I'm going to do it slowly to input the full thing, and then show you the equivalent on the screen, what it actually does and what the timing is. It becomes really frustrating eventually, because I don't know how this can be useful, like when you're mid-game and you need to record a macro really fast. It kind of doesn't make sense for it to be this slow, and it'll make much more sense if you do this on the software side, where you can input things much easier. The only advantage, of course, is that you can do this mid-game. Of course, since it's too slow, it can take that long. Choose macro button. Let's choose M8 this time, and I'm going to do it slowly. Start. Windows R. N O T E P A D. Enter. It doesn't accept enter as part of the macro, and to delete that, press the macro key again, and there's actually the M plus, rather the M pause and M play, and then the M stop button. I initially thought that was part of the recording, but it is actually to interrupt and stop the macro once you initialize it. And I'm going to demonstrate it. Let's move to the screen, and so we can see how fast that command really was on the Windows system. Alright, so here we are. There's a reason why I focused it on this lower left-hand part of the screen, because I wanted to show how fast that macro recorded was. This is I'm going to press record two macros. One, I typed it really fast. It was basically a simple command. I wanted to do start run and then type Notepad, so I can open Notepad that way. Just basic combination, because we know how it's easy to execute, and we know that it requires a sequence of letters to be typed. So here I'm going to press the M9, which we recorded earlier, and of course, see, it didn't work. I got it didn't. I wasn't able to record a lot of the entire input. It was just basically start A N, because you have to basically type it slow. But Downside, of course, is that it records the gaps in between as well. So it doesn't make sense that way for it to be functional. Here is the notepad the notepad macro that we recorded that actually works. But I'm gonna press M8 now. But notice how slow it is. CNOTE. It takes that long because it actually records the gap. So for this to actually make sense, hopefully Roccat is listening, and they could when a firmware update disable the in the live macro recording to include the gaps, but that will only make the live macro recording somewhat effective. It will still be quite unusable mid-game, because if you want the live macro recording in-game, you want to be able to do it really fast. That's kind of the point of macros, to save time. But if you're going you have to take time, I mean, not even counting the fact that you're typing the macro name and then the sub name and then inputting the macro immediately after that, it really doesn't make sense. So hopefully they update that in future versions. So this is the sound recorder test with the built-in microphone. I have actually enabled the microphone boost and set it to maximum, which is plus 30 dB. The default is of course 0. Now the recording volume in Windows is also set to maximum because that's the only way it would pick up the sound. I had it set originally to the recording volume to maximum and the microphone boost to 0 dB, which is the default, and it wasn't picking up. It was picking up very faint sound, so I've set it to plus 30 dB just so you can hear it for this test. And here I am going to do a series of mouse clicks and press the numblock keyboard at the same time, so you could hear and while talking at the same time, so you can hear if my voice is getting drowned out by the mouse clicks and the key presses, because when you're gaming, you want to be able to be heard by your teammates while you're pressing buttons and while you're clicking at the same time. You want it obscured, and since the microphone is built in to the right side of the Valo, it might be some ambient sounds might be heard over your voice. So this is part of that test, and it should be complete. And let's look at the rest of the review and some of the other features of the Roccat Valo after this recording test.